Welcome back to my channel. Now, I usually do not do the Mattel collector drop releases because there's so many videos of the current release. But because I have a Mezco version, I wanted to compare the Edward Scissorhands collector from Monster High versus my classic and older release that Mezco did of Edward Scissorhands. So this will be both an unboxing and a compare contrast of the Mattel version of Edward Scissorhands. So I removed her dust cover so there's no glare on screen, and this is what she looks like. I think she's cute. I know a lot of people weren't happy about her, especially the whole gender bend, and I do wish they made a male version of Edward Scissorhands. There is a really well done Edward Scissorhands doll. I can't remember the company. I believe they're called June Planning, which is an Asian company. It's a really nice doll. And I think there was one other Edward Scissorhands done overseas. Another Asian toy company, and they're a lot better, and I wish we could have had something like that for Edward Scissorhands for the US. But I'm going to go into her details. I am going to unbox her because I actually do have a place with her. She's going to stand next to my Edward. So I'll be back in just a moment. Here she is out of her packaging. The most difficult thing to take off of her was her hairnet, which I had to like pretty much destroy. Here she is. There are three things I want to focus on in my particular overview of her in relation to my Mezco. And the first is the hair. The hair is this crimped style. It's flat out of the box, but if you just fluff it up, you can get it to be that messy hair of Edward Scissorhands. She has this weird, like, really big cowlick on top of her head. I'm not sure why they felt they had to do that. If you want to just look at the Mezco Edward, he has this really nice hair. It's hard to describe. It's not your typical doll hair. It's more on the, like, soft, like on the border of cotton, like a cotton ball. But with his hair, you can actually, like, fluff it up and it, like, stays in place. You can make it, like, wild and crazy if you want, because his hair is very much, it is not a structured hairstyle. It's really all over the place. So I felt like they didn't need this part. I felt like if you remove this part and just had just the poof come out, that style that she has, I think it would have been fine. It would have sufficed. And, well, I guess I could talk about the face paint as well. So another thing people were criticizing is her face paint, especially her eyes. They are really big. They could have been smaller, but in terms of the sadness of Edward, I think they captured it very well. I actually watched the movie yesterday, and I'm a huge Tim Burton fan, and Edward Scissorhands, right up there with Beetlejuice, is one of my all-time favorite movies of Tim Burton's. And I forgot how sad that movie is. If you haven't seen it, or it's been a long time you've seen it, I highly suggest it. It is considered a Christmas movie because it was released in December, and Christmas is in the movie, but it's like towards the end of the movie. But anyway, so in terms of her face, I think they did a really great job. They got all her scars, if I can get that focus. They got all her scars. They're not painted on, they're actually engraved onto her face. And I think it was really well done. The lip part, That's another thing too with the lips. Johnny has this perpetual like pout from most of the movie until he gets to know the family, the people, and starts to come out of his shell. But he does have that pout, which the Mezco version doesn't have that. They actually kept it very simple. They also have the scarring, but I felt like they did a really nice job with her in capturing Johnny Depp's features from the movie. So the one thing like people really didn't like about, well, there's many things people didn't like about this particular doll, but one of the things is, speak with the hair and the face, is this headband. So when I rewatched the movie, the heart makes complete sense. Don't mind my cat. That's Bender. So it made sense. The two things I think people forget about Edward is that he's not a human. He's not a human being. So it made sense that they incorporated an homage to that with the gears. And that he was, the second thing is that he was constructed. And he was constructed, if you remember the movie, he's constructed of different parts. And one of the things, well, I guess the inventor, played by Vincent Price, created for Edward was a heart. And the heart was sort of like a bait thing, which I thought was really neat that they did have a wink to that. That was Edward's heart, because again, he's not a human. He's very much a machine or android of sorts. If you haven't seen the movie, I am not going to spoil it for you, but there's a reason why that's important. Anyway, so the second major thing I wanted to talk about is the outfit. I think they did a really good job with the leather. They went full leather straps for the most part, or at least, actually no, it's still plastic. It's still plastic, but this part here is like pleather, like a pleather. So that is very accurate for the most part. And you have all these buckles all over the place. Of course, Monster High has to let you know it's a Monster High product, so they had the little skelettes. The little skeleton right here. And I just think it was really well done. Again, because it's a gender bend, you know, they had to, you know, make sure, you know, it's a girl version, so they gave her like this tutu skirt. I don't think she needed it. I think if it was just without it, I think it would have worked. But it's cute. Again, it's because she has such a monochromatic, outfit, or Edward has, and all you have in terms of pops of color is the buckles. So I guess they felt like they had to jazz it up with this this skirt attachment, this little tutu. It's cute. And then she has the boots, which again with the object heel. So again, in the movie, he doesn't only do well, in Edward Scissorhands, he's very talented with his scissors. Topiary, he does a lot of landscaping. He cuts hair for both women and dogs. A lot of females in the movie. And he also does ice sculptures. Something I never did understood in the movie. They never explained how they got ice in the movie for him to do those carvings. And then at the very end, they don't explain how he gets the blocks of ice, because one of the characters, played by Winona Ryder, who, fun fact, if you were not alive or you were too young to remember, Winona Ryder dated Johnny Depp. And so she was the love interest. Her name was Kim in the movie. And that's another thing too. I felt like they could have done a gender, they could have kept him the character as a guy and paired him off with Winona Ryder's character, Kim, it would have been a beautiful two-pack set, you know, because you have the black, and in the third act of the film, which took place around Christmas, Kim is in this white dress, and that would look so nice in stark contrast to Edward's costume. And they have a Winona Ryder character already with the Lydia body. They could have just swapped out the dresses and gave her this beautiful white one. So Winona Ryder actually wore a blonde wig, so she doesn't have her trademark black hair. So they, you know, again, they could have rerouted her and have her with blonde hair with the white dress. I think that would have been so cute. And I think it would look so nice with this Edward. So with my Edward from Mezco, he has like a faux leather. He actually has actual working straps. I've never messed with it. Too delicate. This doll is 20 years old. So that's why. Both she and my Edward, they both have this belt, which has like this little moon feature on it. So he has that as well. And again, it's you know, like I said, it's not bad. I don't mind. I mean, I wish it was a boy, but if it was a boy, I would have wanted to be paired with Winona Ryder's character. First of all, I think it would not have stayed in stock. The doll is still in stock. And I felt like that was a missed opportunity. Maybe that was too much of a, I guess maybe they probably didn't think people would remember the movie that much. Everyone knows Edward Scissorhands, but it probably escaped the actual story and the other characters. You just have Edward Scissorhands. And I get it. As for the boots on the Mezco release, he has like this pointed toe boot on the bottom of his boots. Again, it's also faux leather too. Never taken it off, and I'm not gonna do it now. And you know, his costume is very simple, more movie accurate, more or less. And I think that the costume is pretty good for Mattel. So no points taken against that. And finally, the hands. Now, I did an extensive discussion about Edward in my Tim Burton video. I highly recommend it. And he has the best sculpt in terms of the scissors in comparison to Mattel. I know with Mattel, it's a thinner hand, it's a smaller scale, but come on, look at that hand. And the blades are individually mobile, so you can like pose in different ways. Like, come on. Like, they actually look like scissors on his hand. Hers, I just feel like they look like just like long nails. I just, I don't think, I think it could have been better, or at least made it look a little metallic. I mean, it still looks kind of cheap, and it's very delicate, so you got to be careful. But you know, it's nowhere near this one. I mean, this one's beautiful. Okay, her packaging is the now standard Skeletor, so they're starting to use the CGI, I'm not CGI, I'm sorry, AI generated pictures or photos, but it does have a lot of details from the movie. Again, it takes place during Christmas, so it's understandable why they released this doll this month. There you have the angel that he sculpted, which is also on her boot. You have this dog. He does have a moment with his dog. He cuts the dog's bangs in front of his eyes. This is the neighborhood that he stayed with Winona Ryder's character's family. And here is the mansion that he came from, that he used to live with the inventor, played by Vincent Price. And here in the back is just a summary of Edward Scissorhands. Photo of the doll. A photo of the doll. But here is more of what the collector community is really decrying. Again, more the AI imagery. They just kind of just stuck Edward onto this background. It doesn't feel organic, and that's what it looks like. Personally, I'm going to use this as my display behind both my Edwards. I think it's cute enough to have that displayed. Now, unfortunately, this Edward will be hard to find. He is 20 years old. So, you know, it's not realistic that I'm comparing the two when you can't easily get him. He'll cost you a lot more money than this doll, which is now in stock, still in stock. But, you know, I think she's really cute. And, you know, if you can spare the money, definitely seek him out. And her doll also comes with this certificate of authenticity. I wish they did something more with it. She comes with a doll stand. Now, if you want a fun display idea, now my Edward is posed with these cute flocked bunnies. They're for Easter, but I came across them last year, and I just thought these would make great topiary figures with my Edward. Like, look how cute that is. Isn't that cute? Like, look at that. That's really cute. You could find these on Amazon. They're not expensive. They have different sizes. If you're interested in I can share the link. If you comment, I'll share the link. But these are really cute to display with your Edward. And I'm going to get her own. They have one that's a slightly bigger scale. And I think they'll just look so cute together. So that's my brief overview of the Edward Scissorhands release from Mattel. I highly recommend watching the movie. The movie is so beautiful. The movie holds up to this day. And it's just, it is a sad film. I forgot how sad it was. I was bawling my eyes out at the end, but it's a beautiful movie. It's on Disney Plus because it was a 20th Century Fox film. So I highly recommend checking out that movie. And again, it is a Christmas movie. This will be the second of the 3 Tim Burton Christmas movies. And speaking of Tim Burton, he has had a year in terms of his characters being released in doll form. You had her, you had Emily of the Corpse Bride, which I do have. And you also had earlier this year, around February, they released a red tuxedo version of the Beetlejuice and Lydia set based on the Beetlejuice movie. I think I might do a video on that to compare that release with my red tuxedo, Lydia and Beetlejuice. So stay tuned for that. Probably won't be this month. Probably be sometime next year in the new month. But he has had a lot of releases. So, you know, I wish they would have done a 2-pack with Edward and Kim. I don't think it's been done before at all. And I think first of all, that probably would have been hard to get. I think it would not have been in stock. Because they're such a tragic couple. And again, oh my God, the movie, I highly recommend watching it. It's one of Tim Burton's best. So stay tuned. I have 2 or 3 more videos before December ends. So stay tuned for that. And if you like this content, please like, comment, subscribe. I've had subscribers, and for some reason I've had them like drop on and off, and I heard there might be an issue with that if you think you're subscribed, you're not really subscribed. So, you know, again, if you like it, just subscribe, and it motivates me to keep going. And that's it. And like I said, stay tuned for my other videos, especially my year-end Living Dead Dolls roundup, Living Dead Dolls that I have purchased for the 2025 year. And as always, happy hunting, season's greetings, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and whatever other holiday you celebrate. Until next time.